One of my absolute favorite, hands down definitions of branding comes from a girl named Dobrove. Not really for sure how to pronounce her last name. Probably should have did that or looked it up before this video. But the point is, I love her definition. And she says that branding is really a mix of two things: identity and perception. So identity is who you are, who you think you are, right? And perception is who your audience believes you to be. And let me just say, most of the time, the two do not line up. And when they don't line up, that's where you're missing out on a lot. So that's why I've kicked off this branding series to talk all things branding, because that is what I'm all about. In case you are new to me and my channel, what's up? I'm Sherri Brown. Nice to meet you. And it's my passion to help newbie entrepreneurs or people who've been at it for a while but feel like they're spinning their wheels get started building their business and brand online. And I realize, like, it's been a hot, long minute since I've even talked about personal branding outside of my students. So if you're new here and you want to learn all things branding and getting started and social media and how to go out there and actually build a profitable business, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell as I upload new videos each and every week. So when it comes to actually building a personal brand, which is what we're going to be talking about on today's video, just how to build a personal brand from scratch, there's a lot of different kind of decisions and questions that you need to ask yourself. So if you see me looking down, it's because I have my laptop and some different notes, so I don't leave anything out. But take, for instance, branding as a whole. You've got your origin story, you've got your niche, what niche you want to be in, you've got positioning, how you want to position yourself, who your ideal client is. You've got your tagline, your messaging, different differentiators, both personal and business. You've got content, what vibe, and your online presence, okay? So what we're gonna do in this video is defining what your brand is going to be from a business perspective, kind of sharing with you how you can niche down to be known for something specific. I'll be sharing some of the other aspects around building a personal brand later on in some upcoming videos. So again, just be sure that you hit the bell so you get notified. And of course, I dive deeper and in a step-by-step order inside of the Online Branding Academy, launching a little bit later this year. Depending on when you're watching this video, it might actually be up right now. And then at the end, I'm also going to share some tips as far as like where you might get stuck in this process and some tips to overcome that. You want to think of branding as, what do you want to be known for? So when somebody says your name, what do you want them to think of? And think about it also in terms of like what problem you solve. Because within your brand, you kind of have like an industry level and then a niche level. So take, for instance, from an industry level, it's way more broad. So it could be sports industry, it could be health and wellness, beauty, wealth, relationships. Think about what industry you want to occupy. And then the second thing you're going to do is you're going to kind of break it down and become known for something more specific. So we're going to go and we're going to kind of niche down. And when it comes to niche, I know some people say niche. I feel a little bit more like, proper when I say niche. So regardless, I'm from the South, so I just say niche, okay? So you're basically kind of honing in on a specific space within an overall industry so that you're providing solutions to a specific problem. And I'm going to give you some examples. So when it comes to building your own personal brand, again, the very first question you need to ask yourself or decision that you need to make is decide on what industry you want to be in. Now, again, it's broad and not really good enough if you want to stand out. And here are some different questions that you can ask yourself to determine this. So, what you know a lot about. So what's something that you feel like you could talk about for hours? So that's one question. And again, I have my laptop out. Is there something specific that people come to you asking for advice about? And is there something you're particularly passionate about? Think about that. Now, passionate, like having passion shouldn't be your sole driver for picking a particular industry or picking a lane, but I definitely feel like you should be passionate about it. Now, sometimes the passion can come later. For instance, I didn't really realize how passionate I was about talking personal branding and getting started with business until I actually started diving into the personal development world, and I tried to start building a business online and I was clueless. And then when I started learning, I was like, oh my gosh, I was so fascinated by it. So sometimes it might take, pivoting and just taking action and doing different things to really find something, that you are into and that you are passionate about. Now, on another note, passion again should not be your sole driver. Like, I absolutely love to dance. I'm super passionate about dancing, but it's not something that I feel like I would want to build a business around. So it doesn't always have to be something you're passionate about. Now, here is another thing that I want you to keep in mind. I read a book called Known, K-N-O-W-N, and I thought this was very, very helpful when it comes to kind of picking that industry. And that is, you want to think about, the questions that I've already asked, but also think about something that's going to be a sustainable interest. And here's what I mean by that. A sustainable interest is something that you love, a topic you'll have fun with for years to come. But it's also a theme you want to be known for, something that will help you achieve your long-term goals. These are just some questions and some things to keep in mind when it comes to the very first question of what industry you want to be in the first place. Now, a quick tip if you get stuck and you're kind of in between a couple of different ideas or a couple of different industries. I want you to get out a piece of paper and a pen and think of as many different content ideas for each industry that you're thinking about. Because what's going to happen, chances are, is there's going to be one that you're going to be able to come up with way more ideas. And the one that maybe you don't have as many ideas for, you may want to kind of pivot and go in a different direction, because when it comes to developing your brand, content is a huge part of that. Once you've got the industry, step 2 is picking a niche, okay, and getting known for something super specific. And I'm going to give you some examples. And again, also, I'm going to give you a tip in case you get stuck on this so that you can give yourself a little bit of grace. Now, when it comes to niching down, it's great to go 1 to 2 levels deep. And let me explain. So take, for instance, when it comes to my own brand, okay? The industry that I occupy is business. And at first I was talking about like all things business. I was listening to all the webinars, getting on all the calls, reading all the books. And so one day I might be talking about Facebook tips, and the next day I'm talking about how to prospect, and the next day I'm talking about how to do a webinar and advanced strategies. And it was just too broad. Again, nothing that was really going to make me stand out. But as time went on, I was able to narrow it down a little more and a little more, as to where now, I'm really known for personal branding and things to focus on when you're just starting out. Because I know when I was first starting out with my business, the first 4 years I was a total spammer. And even when I got into learning about marketing and attraction marketing and branding, I was still kind of going down different rabbit holes, and then I'd have to turn around and like backtrack. And so for me, that's why I'm so passionate about teaching people, when you're just getting started, like, here's the most important things to focus on, and everything else can wait. Because unless you have a solid business foundation in place, there's no advanced strategy that's going to work. Advertising or webinars or any like advanced strategy like that. And even when it comes to social media, I mainly talk about Facebook. And I've started adding in a little bit more YouTube as I continue to grow on this platform and learn more things, but I'm not over here talking about all of social media. So you're not going to see Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, like none of that. But let me give you a couple of other examples of what this means to go from an industry level and then niching down to like level 1 and then level 2. So take, for instance, social media may be the industry that you're in. So going 1 level deep could mean that you're picking one particular platform, and it's going to be YouTube, okay? And then going 2 levels deep would be, hey, I don't just want to be known for social media. I want it to be YouTube specific, but not just that. Like, I want to be the one who teaches people like how to run ads on YouTube. Same could be said for Facebook. You could go social media, Facebook, and then Facebook ads. There are a few different people out there who that's really all they talk about is Facebook ads. So that's really getting super specific. Now, here's where you might get stuck. when it comes to niching down. And that is, you end up spending like a way too much time overthinking, or you're unsure of like exactly the niche that you want to be in. And that's totally okay. Like, give yourself some grace, because I will say that if you're just starting out, it's a lot easier to go out there as you're just getting started building your business and building your brand and building your audience, to be a little bit more broad in the beginning. At least narrow it down to an industry and think of some different topics, and you can start creating content around various topics in different niches. And with that, that is going to allow you to actually get into action. And over time, what's also super cool is that it's really going to allow you to see what lands with your audience and what doesn't. So you may notice certain categories or topic ideas that you talk about like really seem to get a lot of engagement and get a lot of views, as to where other topics, they may not. So use those analytics as a way to kind of help you narrow it down from there. What your brand is going to look like 6 months from now, or a year from now, or 5 years from now, it can be totally different. And that's perfectly normal. It's okay, because as you evolve, obviously your brand is going to evolve too. So just make shifts and make pivots whenever you need to. Now, on the next video, I am going to be sharing some key factors and some key things that you can do to really start standing out online. And there's 2 things that I want to know. I know it's not really great to ask 2 things of you, so you could do like either or. But if you have any particular questions around branding in general, be sure to drop those down below in the comments. And I would also love to know like what your biggest takeaway was. Like, did you have any particular aha moments? If so, again, put them down below in the comments. Now, with that being said, I hope you did get some value from this video. If you missed last week's video all around just the key benefits, like does branding even matter and what are the biggest benefits of building a personal brand, I'll leave that video. It should be up. But with that being said, I hope you have the most amazing day, the most amazing week, and I'll see you back here on the next one. Bye for now.